Hey, it's Johnny Jet. Welcome back to my show. If you're not a member, please subscribe. Also, make sure you check out my next guest, Valerie Joy Wilson's Instagram, Twitter, your website, trustedtravelgirl.com.
Yes,
Correct?
you got it. You
Good.
know
So
it.
Valerie has been around. She travels a ton. She's executive platinum on American. She flies all around the world. She literally just got in yesterday from Thailand via Doha. So we're going to talk about this, but she was one of the first Americans probably to check out Phuket Sandbox or Thailand Sandbox. What's the official name?
It's the Phuket Sandbox.
Yeah, so what is this Phuket Sandbox? I mean, I know what it is, but you can probably explain it a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the Phuket Sandbox program, and then there's also it gets very confusing because if you do the version in Samui, it's called Samui Plus. So I did the Phuket Sandbox 7+7 program, which actually has already ended, and now there's even a shorter program, so we can get to that. But
So
basically, what
seven plus 7 was 7 days, and then
7 days in Phuket, and then you could do another 7 days in another approved province. I was supposed to go to PP. It did not open in Krabi, did not open. So I ended up going to Koh Lak for part of my second 7 days. But basically, it's a way to go to Thailand. They haven't fully opened the country yet. You do this sandbox program, which is now shortened to only 7 days. It was 14, which is why it was 7+7. And then you're pretty much free to go throughout the rest of the country, but it's basically like a graduated entry into Thailand. So you have to do a ton of paperwork and apply before you go. You need a certificate of entry called a COE. You need proof that you're staying at certain hotels that are authorized to be a part of the sandbox program. So not all properties are available for that. I think there's over 300 in Phuket that are participating in the sandbox program. So
and you need
you have all
insurance.
and you need insurance and you need a vaccination, proof of vaccination. So once you get all of that together and then you get your negative test, you're able to go. You get tested again on arrival. It's actually quite cool. So you walk out of the airport, they go through all your paperwork, you line up, they go through a ton of things, they make you download a certain app that kind of tracks who you're interacting with through Bluetooth, make sure that you're not around infected people. And then right before you leave the airport, there's like, they almost look like food trucks, but they're PCR testing things. And basically, you like walk up, you step up to this little truck, and you hand them your little baggie with your name on it, and they take it, they swab your nose, and they say you'll hear from us in 6 hours,
Six
six, six,
hours.
6 to 24 hours actually, but mine took 5 or 6. So then you get escorted directly to your hotel to the check-in process, and you have to wait in your room until you hear back about your PCR. And
So is the
then
hotel next to the airport? How do they escort you?
so they basically it's like sealed entry to your hotel. So they like my guide was there to say, hi, I'll see you tomorrow after your test is completed. And you go straight into your hotel shuttle that's already like certified to transport you safely and appropriately.
Just
Uh,
you.
just me. Yep, just me. And then you get to your hotel. They they have all of your information. So the test information not only comes through your email, but it comes through their email. So actually I found out because the hotel called my room and they were like, hey, you're free. Your test came back negative.
So you couldn't leave between those for 6 to 24 hours, if you.
Yes.
Okay, but
But
then
like I
but
said,
then you're free to go.
5 or 6. Yeah. And to be honest, like I had a nice villa with a pool. Like I didn't need to go
Which
anywhere.
hotel?
That one was the shore at Katat Tiny. It was really quite nice.
And is it expensive?
It's a little pricey. It depends on, what room you choose and the time of year and all of that good stuff. But it was a, it was a villa.
Okay. And how about you said you had a guide. Did you have to have a guide or does everyone did you hire the guide?
No, I hired the guide.
Okay.
You don't have to have a guide to go around, but
And how was traffic? Was traffic still insane like it used to be?
oh, it's so crazy. Actually, one of the days I was like, wow, this is the most traffic I've seen. And it like wasn't even, I mean, it's nothing to you and I who live in LA and see traffic 24/7, really crazy traffic. No, it wasn't crazy. And it was a lot of things were still closed, but a lot of things were open. So it's just, but like you'll see like little shops and stuff that you don't even know what it is. It's just closed, got the big metal gate over it. But for the most part, it's like you don't notice, you don't miss anything. Like I was able to do everything. I went diving, I went surfing, I went and ate street food, which I missed so much about being in Southeast Asia.
Everyone
Um,
wearing masks outside?
yeah, so people are really compliant. Outside, no. Inside, yes.
Do they
Um,
have to? I mean, and do you see people without them?
you know, I don't think you have to wear them outside. If you did, a lot of people, including myself, didn't necessarily comply all the time. I don't think that's an issue, but as long as you're inside and in public areas, including the public spaces of your hotel, you're supposed to be wearing them. So, for example, one property I stayed at, the lobby was like kind of like an open breeze way, kind of, but it's a public space. It was one of the Antaras. And so even though it's outside, you still wear your mask to be respectful.
Right. And were there any Americans there besides yourself?
So there were not many Americans. I met a lot of people from Switzerland randomly.
Did you?
Lots of Swiss there. A couple Americans at my first hotel, but for the most part, any Americans that were there were only just coming in for like a quick 7 days and right back out. A lot of them like weren't leaving their resorts. They were just coming for some sun and some mango sticky rice, I guess. But
I could use some mango sticky rice right now and some
so good.
mangosteens and
Eat
rambutan.
that
Man, I
every
just miss
every
Thailand.
day. Every day. Every day. I
So
went
lucky.
14 days without before I finally had like any non-Thai food.
How long were
Finally
you
I had
there for?
21 days
Wow.
or 20 or 21. Yeah.
And
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 finally
so
I was like, I need a French fry.
and were you in Phuket the whole time?
So I wasn't. I actually went to Kolak, and that's one of the really exciting things I want to talk about is I went to James Bond Island through Kolak. And for anyone who doesn't know, it is that iconic kind of like top heavy rock formation
Right.
islandy thing that you see all the photos of in Thailand. And it's normally littered with tourists. I've actually never been because I'm just like, don't want to put up with it. I finally got a chance to go. I was the only person there, the only boat out on the water. And when I got to go to the area where you get your boat, I wanted like potato chips and a water. And I walked into the store, and the woman couldn't believe that I was there because she hadn't seen a foreign tourist in 6 months.
Wow.
So I was the first foreigner she had seen in 6 months, which was really, it was amazing as a traveler to have it all to yourself, but it was also just really heartbreaking to know how bad everybody in travel is still hurting around the world. We obviously felt the impact here, but have kind of bounced back a little bit. But a lot of places are still, struggling and don't have the tourists yet. But on the flip side, I was able to go to this iconic place and be the only person there. It was totally peaceful. My guide came with me, and there were fish like right up by the sand, like swimming around in the water. And she's like, wow, I've never seen fish here. Like, never, I've never seen the water this clear.
Right.
Um, So it's been spectacular to be able to kind of have Thailand to yourself a little bit. I made a post on my Instagram where I was like, yeah, just don't come. Like let me just continue to have it to myself.
But they want
But
tourists.
obviously, like go. It's a great time to go. You have a unique opportunity. There's so many countries like this right now, but Thailand especially, it's a place that, I mean, you and I both know there's always so many tourists everywhere in Thailand. It's an easy country to travel in for being in Southeast Asia. It's very, very like traveler friendly, which means there's tons of tourists everywhere you go. You never have anything to yourself there.
Right.
As a traveler, you have this incredible opportunity to see it in like this pristine condition where most of the people that you're interacting with are locals and not tourists. And if they are tourists, they're like domestic tourists from Bangkok. So it's really
Once in a lifetime, it sounds like, and hopefully it's
definitely
once in a lifetime.
hopefully once in a lifetime, right?
Right.
I don't think I I hope we never have this opportunity again, just because obviously this whole pandemic hasn't been fun for any of us, but really if you're willing to travel and you're able to be safe and trust the system, then
So did you feel safe? And how many PCR tests did you have to take while you're there? And did they shove it all the way up your nose?
oh my God, do they shove it all the way up your nose? Yeah. I had some rough ones there.
Wow.
The second one I had was intense. I had three. So you have one, actually, I had four. So I was supposed to stay for 14 days. So you have one when you get there, one on day 6, so that on day 7 you can go somewhere else. And then you have another one on day 13, so that on day 14 you can be like released from the sandbox. And then I had another one to go home because I ended up staying 20 days. So I had 4, plus I had the test before I left. So it was a lot of PCR tests.
So do you need to take it? You need to take a test to enter as well before you enter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how did you get there? You flew Qatar Airways from New York or LA?
I actually flew Singapore on the way there and I flew Qatar on the way back.
Nice. So Singapore through where?
So I
Singapore?
flew, yes, through Singapore and
You did the nonstop.
yeah, LA to Singapore.
Wow, 18
It
or
was like,
six, seven.
yeah, 17 and a half hours or something like that.
And how was that? Was the flight empty?
It was not full, but it was not empty. I had premium economy and that section was like a little bit empty. And I actually went in there wasn't many single like empty rows, but I went and snagged an empty row
In
and
coach.
in a regular economy and just slept in there.
Wow.
Because it was more comfortable. And then on the way back I flew Q suites. My favorite. Yeah.
Cutter.
But yeah, the Singapore airport right now, like if you want to talk about that,
yeah, I want to talk about that.
going like the 2 ways to get into Phuket right now that are the most feasible are going through Doha and going on Qatar or going through Singapore. And the Singapore airport right now, I don't know what they're doing with business class passengers. I've heard it's maybe a little bit different, but basically they line everybody up like you're in kindergarten. They, first of all, everyone that's transiting has to wait. So normally, anybody that's transiting usually gets off the plane first, especially if you're like delayed or anything. It's the total opposite. Everybody that's transiting waits on the plane and then you exit together and you're all like lined up single file, like
Social distancing or no?
I mean, there wasn't really social distancing, but they bring you, this is for social distancing. So then they bring you to this transiting area, but it's like the size of 2 gates maybe. And it's all taped off and they check your boarding pass and they check you in and they give you a wristband and you're locked in this area for your entire layover. So my layover was like super quick. Wasn't a big deal, but on the return flight that I was going to have taken, it was like 7 hours and there's no restaurant, no access to lounge. There's one bathroom. You can order food, and I took a photo of the sign. It's like you order it through a QR code, and it says it takes 45 minutes to an hour to get anything. So you like can't really like access quick food, other than they had like a little cart where there might have been snacks. I know there was coffee and water that you could purchase,
I mean, that's
but
gotta be a torture because Singapore Airport is the best airport in the
it is
world.
the best airport. So I was like, oh, like I can't wait to get to Singapore. Like I've missed the airport. It's like just amazing. No, man, it's rough right now.
Wow.
So highly recommend if you're going to Thailand, fly Qatar. They're my favorite airline anyways, but
So how do they
the
pronounce
whole
it? I
airport's
mean,
open.
I've flown Qatar. I say Qatar. Is it Qatar? Qatar? What is it?
I don't know. I mean, I say Qatar, but I'm probably saying it wrong.
Well, I am probably too, but I think it's Qatar. But I like to say Qatar as
Okay,
well.
so Qatar. Either way, whatever way you spin it, the airport's open
So no
and it's
problem.
great. They have an amazing lounge and great food, and they have like Harrods and gold shop. Like you can just go do everything there. They have all kinds of stuff to do, and
I love that airport. And
oh, it's a great airport. And like they have a swimming pool and a gym if you decide to like pay for the hotel.
so
You
did you
can
do that?
No, I didn't do that.
How long was your layover?
Like 2 hours, but I injured my foot, so I didn't really do
So,
anything.
so then you
Yeah.
flew. So and then you flew nonstop from Doha to LA. What's
Yeah,
that?
which is,
16?
I think it's like just under 16. Yeah. Usually they shave off some of the time though.
Okay. And was that flight crowded?
So the flight from Phuket to Doha was super empty. The flight to LA, it was probably like average for right now, which is like it was pretty full, but not full
Really?
full.
Okay. People,
Um,
did you have a passenger next to you?
well, I had a
Well, you're
Q
in the
suite
Q seat.
at my
You're in
door,
the Q seat.
but the Q suites were like pretty full. They were
Oh,
pretty full because I looked at
okay.
I used Expert Flyer to check the seating map before, and they were almost all taken. So they're busy.
So can we talk about how you got the Q seat?
How I got the Q suite.
Yeah. Can we talk about that?
Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, 'cause you hurt your foot, and then from the hotel because they had this stupid step in the bathroom that
I feel like
no one
this
can
is like
believe,
the worst
and
story.
then so then travel insurance paid for the upgrade.
Yeah. Well, okay, just like to clarify, which is why I was hesitant to say anything. I mean, I normally use my miles or, I, like for Q Suite, I use my AA miles or like I normally put myself there.
Right.
But yeah, no. So I injured my foot, and I have like a hairline fracture and probably some torn ligaments, waiting to find out when I go to my doctor here. But we got the x-ray at the hospital in Thailand after I fell on a step that you can't see in the bathroom of my hotel, which wasn't any of the nice hotels that I just mentioned. It was a different one. And yeah, it was about to be my last day. All I wanted to do was hang out by the pool with like a cocktail. And instead I went to get an x-ray.
How
And
was that,
so
by the
I
way? How was the how was the hospital? And did it take long? And how
actually,
much did it
the
cost?
hospital was amazing. I wish that we had Thai healthcare here. It was 300, I think it was like $300. I'm submitting it to my travel insurance, so I don't really care what it is. But I think it was like $300 I paid up front, and that was the emergency room, the x-ray, the doctor's evaluation. He took so much time with me because I had so many
And is
questions.
this in Phuket?
This was in Phuket, yeah.
A long
And
wait for the hospital to see the doctor? And is it
nope,
clean like the Four Seasons, like I've heard?
it was a super clean hospital. Like everything was so, because I was like, oh, how long is this gonna be? Like, I don't like my foot hurts. It's gonna take me forever to pack tonight. Like, I can't sit here for 8 hours and then pack to like fly home. I was like in and out in probably an hour. And
Wow.
that included my x-ray and multiple like chats with the doctor. And it wasn't like the doctor. So I have a half of a cast, and it's like wrapped up in an ace. It's, I don't know what you call a half a cast, but the doctor was the one to do it. It wasn't like he like, you know how a lot of the time like the doctor's like, all right, so you're gonna get this, and then they're gone.
The
No, it
technician
was like
comes
the
in.
doctor was the one doing it and everything.
And did he speak English perfectly, I assume?
Perfect English, probably better than mine.
I'm sure
And
better than mine.
and it was amazing. But yeah, so travel insurance said I needed to elevate, and
So
they're
you call so you called your travel insurance company, which by the way is which one?
Travel Guard. They're amazing. They took
So
care of my
I mean,
appendix when I came out in Switzerland.
so this is the value of travel insurance is that
You never know.
so
You never.
how long did it take them to say, okay, we need to pay for an upgrade or change your flight?
So I injured it the night before, and I slept on it thinking like it'll get better. Like
Right.
it's not gonna get, the next day it was worse. So I went for my PCR test and went to the ER, and then I had called them before I went because I was like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So they sent me a bunch of paperwork to give to the doctor, like fit to fly forms and all of that. And then I went to the doctor, came back, submitted all the paperwork. Maybe like 8 hours later, I had a flight out of there. So they were like finding flight options, and
This is Travel Guard.
yeah. And the doctor said I needed to elevate my leg.
Okay.
So, because the swelling, especially like if you've ever had an injury or a cast on a plane, which now I know it is painful, even when it was elevated, that your feet and everything swell so much on the plane that I was in agony in that thing. But they were looking at flight options, and the problem with Singapore was there was no seat to elevate my leg from Phuket to Singapore. So they were looking at buying 3 seats so I could put my leg up for the 2-hour flight. And they said that was going to probably have to get reapproved through the airline and could take 48 hours. And then they had sent me other options, and there was the flight. There was a flight out of Doha or to Doha the next day, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was like, wait, what if we do the same one but today, because I like really want to go home, like I'm in pain, I like don't want to be here anymore. And they're like, yeah, like in a few hours. And I was like, yeah.
Wow.
And they said, all right, I think we can get that approved. And
so are you
they
doing that on email or
I
on
packed
the
my
phone?
bags and I was out the door in like an hour.
Wow. So is that on the phone or an email?
That was all on the phone. So I had a Thai SIM card in my phone for most of the trip, but I just put my SIM card back in and paid $10 a day or whatever it is to just use my phone and be reachable to them.
Cool.
And they were so amazing. And then also they have like a team of, which I didn't talk to them this time, but I had my appendix out a couple years ago in Switzerland, and they had like a whole team of like the doctors in Switzerland didn't give me any information. They were just like, their whole team of doctors and Travel Guard was like, you need to be walking, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing, like you need to be taking deep breaths, like all these things I didn't know to like make sure I healed properly. So I just like can't say enough nice things about having travel insurance, period. Doesn't matter who you get, just get one.
So I hope you're their brand ambassador. If you're not,
actually, yeah, because
are.
I talked about them for so much. They actually reached out to me a couple of years ago because I just was constantly talking about how amazing they are.
I was gonna say they should hire you if you're not.
We haven't done anything in a little while, but I think
maybe
there might be a story here.
Good. Well, listen, I appreciate the time. Would you go back to Thailand? Would you recommend it for your friends to go tomorrow?
I would go back tomorrow if I didn't injure my foot. Yeah, absolutely. I want to know, when are you going to go back to Asia?
I hope sooner than later, but I have 2 little unvaccinated kids, so I'm being very cautious.
That's true. They're not able to get the vaccine yet.
No, so
forget about this.
So I'm
yeah, so you've been doing a little traveling, but not too much, huh?
Just traveling domestically right now, and if case numbers keep going down, which they have been in a lot of the states that I want to go to, including Connecticut, New York, Hawaii. But I mean, we will travel, I hope. I'm trying to talk my wife into it right now. But we're very fortunate to live in California, which is the best state, and we have so much. We have the mountains, we have the desert, We have the ski slopes coming soon. So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Well, I can't recommend it enough. Like again, it's if you're if you're listening to this and you're thinking about traveling to Thailand or any place that is normally littered in tourists, now is the time to go. It's such a great opportunity. I can't like preach that enough. It was so much better than I thought it could have ever been. And just to like have all of these things to yourself, I mean, it was like really magical. It was like having this private Thailand experience where I was able to like suck all the tourists out.
Wow.
So it's not going to be like that for long.
No, let's hope
So
not. And it does sound like a dream, but
yeah,
I'm glad you went. I'm glad you shared it with us. And again, where can people find you?
trustedtravelgirl.com at trustedtravelgirl on Instagram and TikTok and all of the socials.
All right. And please subscribe to my newsletter, johnnyjet.com, and this
Yes,
channel.
you have a great newsletter.
Well,
Everybody should sign up.
well,
I
thank
get
you very much.
it.
Well, Valerie, it's been for reals. So thank you so much. And we'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye bye.